Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to this week's edition of Monday Motivation. This episode is simply called Less is More for motivation. And why is that? Does that even make sense? Well, in a world where we can wake up and from the moment we wake up to the moment we go back to sleep, be running around like headless chickens. Maybe our mind is really full and it feels like it needs a declutter. Or maybe you are working for somebody or for yourself, and part of that work means that you need to get a lot of stuff done. Just because you need to get a lot of stuff done doesn't mean that you need to be consumed 24/7. So this episode is for you if you or someone you know sometimes has that little niggly feeling of I wish there were more hours in the day, or too much work, not enough time. This is especially for you. So there are a few things that I want to share with you this morning, because this may motivate your Monday, your morning, or even your week. And as it's kind of the start of February, it might even motivate your month too. So if you are watching this and you know of other people, maybe you like to motivate yourself, or you know of other people you love motivating too, please do share this video. I'm so grateful to you. The messages and the comments that you leave, even after the live event, really warm my heart. So thank you. So I'm saying good morning to Alan, who's saying good morning. So thank you for that. So less is more for motivation. So where does that start? The first thing that I would encourage you to look at is, well, first of all, in order to help kind of embed these ideas and make them take shape, because let's face it, with anything we do, myself included, there are times where we intend to do something but we don't quite get around to it. Okay, so if you can think of something that you've intended to do, haven't got around to it, by all means do hit the like button or the love button, even if you are watching on the replay. So once you've got just one of those things where you feel you might be feeling overwhelmed, or you might be feeling there's a lot to do and I want to get it done. The first thing is, in order to have less be more, think about the thing that you want to do and ask yourself this really simple question: what do I want to do? Now, this might seem like the most simple question on the planet. Sorry, my stand is shaking because I'm just sticking my 3 words up here so I don't forget what I want to say. So, what do I want to do? Hey, morning, Jenny, says Faye. Hello, Faye. This question is really important to focus you into what you want to do. Too many times as a life coach that, I coach execs privately, I coach high performers privately, I coach business owners privately. Too many times when we get down to the nitty gritty of the thing they're trying to achieve, it's almost smudged and filled and made busy by the things that they don't want to achieve, as well as the things that they do want to achieve. So if, for example, your burning desire is to make the perfect cup of tea, what normally comes out of our mouths, and it comes out of our mouths because it's coming from somewhere deep down. I love the way you all say hello to each other. Because it comes from somewhere deep down is, I really want to make the perfect cup of tea, closely followed by, but I don't want to mess it up. I worried that 10 years ago I made the most disastrous cup of tea and I just found it really hard to live it down since. Or when I make tea for myself, it seems to be okay, but then when I share it with others, they don't like it. And can you see how this goes? So just in that example alone, at least 70% of the focus, if not more than that, 80% of the focus was on the things that I didn't want. This is a regular occurrence, and despite what you might have picked up in some personal development phases, it's okay if what we say is reflected in our language, and here's why. If what we say, sorry, I've got a thing on my notification on my phone. If what we say is reflected in our language, it shows what's really, truly going on inside. So when you ask yourself the what do I want question, if something comes out that you were kind of surprised by or not expecting, make a note of it, pay attention to it, notice it, because when you pay attention to it and you notice it, then it really gives you a steer of what's going on underneath the bonnet and why you might not be arriving at the destination that you wanted to that quickly. Does that make sense? If it does, give me a thumbs up or a love heart. And if it doesn't, type, Jenny, what on earth are you talking about? And I'll be happy to go deeper. Okay, so the first thing when you want less is more motivation is to go for what you want. Going for more actually fills up a space and makes you more busy than you need to. Going for the things that you don't want means that the next thing I'm going to talk about is then split. And thing number 2 is focus, your focus. Now, your focus is really important. And about, we're diving headlong into this year, February already. In December, I had a conversation with a friend who is super focused, like very successful in the things that they do. They have an ability in a very busy world to be laser focused. And their question kind of gave me a deeper insight into the way that they think, but also gave me an insight into what I think, how I think, and how sometimes those gaps could be a little bit out of the way. So if I was to ask you this question right now, how would you answer it honestly? And you can answer in the box below, or you can just kind of answer, I would say answer in your head, but at least write it down somewhere in a notebook that you can go back and revisit it to, but you don't have to put it in here. So what are you focused on right now? Think about this question. In terms of being motivated, like what are you motivated to do? What are you motivated for? And once you know what that is, so using my previous example, to make the perfect cup of tea, then what is your focus right now? Because if your focus is to make the perfect cup of tea, yet your motivation, your want is to make the perfect cup of tea, yet your focus is on cleaning out the garage and, I don't know, reading a book about Eskimos. This shows you, yourself, that whilst you say your focus is on the perfect cup of tea, is it? Okay. So one way that you can really harness your focus and get your things done is to be crystal clear what you're focused on. That's part 1. To know specifically what you're focused on, and then you can tailor everything that you are doing towards that focus. Now, this is going to sound like, Jenny, really? Are you not teaching something that's a bit more complicated than that? Well, no, and here's the reason why. Hey, it's Philly. Hello. She's in New Zealand. Hello, thank you for watching. I love that we have an international audience. You're now the second person who has come on and put a comment, and I know that you're in our future. You're in Monday afternoon, so hello. So you're laughing because you said I'm finishing my business plan for 2000. Oh, she says hi. For 2019 this week, and you know what? That's okay, because at least you know what your focus is. I love that. So as you've shared that, let's use that as an example. So, oh gosh, I'm getting my places messed up, aren't I? Of course, you're in Australia. You're not in New Zealand. It's young Bill who's in New Zealand. Okay. Now I've messed that up royally. Welcome and thank you for watching. But you're still in our future. So you're talking about getting your business plan for 2019. So if that's you, and actually this is a great sharing point for all of us, myself included, because now you know what your focus is. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of people will say, oh, but I'm multitasking because I'm doing this thing, this thing, this thing. Brian Tracy talks about this, your big frog. He says, and if you haven't ever read his book, Eat That Frog, it's definitely a good read. And here's the reason why. I was actually once nicknamed Jenny Frog by a colleague of mine way back when I was a manager in financial services, because I brought this into the sales team, and to make a point I just stuck up pictures of frogs around the building, no explanation, no nothing, and people were like, what's this about, you know? So Brian Tracy talks about eating frogs, and he says your frog is it's like your biggest task, the one that consumes your mind. So even though Philly might be saying to herself, well, you know, I've got this thing to do, this thing to do, and this thing to do, the thing that's dominating for her at the moment is the business plan. That's the biggest frog. And Brian Tracy, a bit like in I'm a Celebrity, says, it doesn't pay, if you've got to eat a frog, it doesn't pay to look at it for too long. Eat your biggest, ugliest frog first thing. So if that is the thing that's consuming you, you get that niggly, I certainly do that niggly, oh, I need to get this done, I need to do this thing. This is a time of year here in the UK where we've just hit the end of year, like the tax return, 31st of January. And also for me, it meant end of VAT quarter as well. So there came a point where I was like, yeah, but I need to get my landing pages done. I'm having a few new things done to my website, and my look and feel's changing. I need to do those. And as much as that was the thing that I really wanted to jump in and do, there's a deadline. There's a natural deadline there. So my accounts and taxes and everything else became my biggest, ugliest frog. And where this helped me to focus was there was somewhere that I wanted to go, which would have taken 5 or 6 days out of my calendar. And I realised, if I'm being astute, the timing isn't the best time for me to do it. My focus needs to be on this thing, because if I split my focus between, travelling at this time and trying to do this, two things are going to happen. A, my focus is going to be split, because I'm going to be in thing A, thinking about thing B, almost looking at frog 1, thinking about frog 2, which frog 2 is really my biggest, ugliest frog. And then the other thing that would happen would mean that when it came to finalising the task for my biggest, ugliest frog, my attention is split, and then I've just sabotaged this thing, okay? So it's really important to eat your biggest, ugliest frog. And with that focus, what Philly might do, she might say to herself, well, I'm going to be creating my business plan, so I'm going to focus and give myself an hour to write the outline and what needs to go in it, for example. And then on her break, she might watch a motivational video about planning for a business. It could be a 5-minute video. It could be a 10-minute video. And then she might decide, well, I'm going to go for a walk. Hopefully you've got some sunshine there because it's your summer. So you'll go out and go for a walk and be able to take in nature and, take in the things around you, because having that empty space, that less is more stuff, having that empty space will then allow the creative ideas to drop in, which will be focused towards the business plan, or in our cases, our biggest, ugliest frog. Does that make sense? This is where the principle of less is more comes in. A lot of the time, when you ask the average person how they're doing, they answer with, oh, I'm busy, so busy. It's a great answer to a question that you didn't ask. So think about this. Where in our lives are we busy doing lots and lots of things? And I've been practicing this principle since I was asked that question about focus, because in my answer I realised, although I thought I was focused in 2 or 3 areas. And being focused in 2 or 3 areas is not focus. It's not laser focus. It's not the sort of focus that we need. So Philly says, yes, it makes sense. Thank you. I really needed that. All your points. Oh, thank you. And you know what? I think even though I speak about this stuff and I live through it and my clients live through it, it's a great reminder for me to not just to remind me, but to get back into those areas of focus, So today now is the day that I'm focusing on, on the stuff on my website and all of that kind of stuff. So now all the tax stuff is done, that's where I'll put my focus. So thank you, and I hope this is as helpful to you as it is for everyone else. And if it is, give me a thumbs up or a love heart, just so that I know that it's good. And if it isn't, you've got an opportunity to type your question in the box below. So focus, focus, focus. And by having focus, actually, it means that there's less clutter, less mind chatter, less splitting of energy, which means that you can have that energy to get that one thing done. Okay, so that was point number 2. And then here are some tips, because you might think, well, how can I best do it? This is so stressful. It's on my mind. I can't stop thinking about it, or keeps popping in. I find it a distraction. Whatever those things are, I've heard a lot of different reasons why. So one of the first things is, are you in panic or are you in calm? Think about it. Think about the energy of panic. It's a bit like scattered. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. The panic is like a jittery movement. And that jittery movement means that you can't stick your attention or focus on anything. So what would I suggest? Why not move out of panic into calm? Oh, all easy and well and good, you say, Jenny. I can hear you saying that. So here's something that I do religiously every morning. I do fall off the wagon, I'm not perfect, but every morning, even this morning, knowing that I had to start this broadcast at 7 a.m, my alarm still went off at just before 6, and I did a meditation. So I gave my time to do a meditation that would calm me, and I'll tell you why in a second, to keep me, to keep me in a place of calm, so that if I feel panic rising in the day, that's, which do I choose? Do I choose panic or do I choose calm? Now, I do this every morning because here's what I found. I know a lot of people say, oh, I like to meditate before I go to bed, and I'll never tell you what to do. I'll tell you what works and what gets the best results. Now, when you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do, it could be drink a glass of water with lemon in, which I highly recommend. Hot water and lemon is cool. It could be to go to the bathroom. It could be that you want to go out for a run. Before you do any of that, apart from the bathroom, you don't want any accidents while you're in bed. Before you do anything, if you can get to a place of calm in your mind, regardless of what the day throws at you, you can go back to that place quite quickly and quite easily. So if a drama evolves in the daytime, then you've already been to that place of calm first thing in the morning and you can go back there. It could be that you're expecting that there might be some dramatics in your day. So if that's the case, sorry, more notifications there. It could be that if that's the case, it's like you're pre-preparing yourself for something, even if you don't know it's going to happen. And that's what I find meditation does for me in the morning. And sometimes that meditation can be a 5-minute meditation, a 10 or 15-minute meditation. And sometimes one of my favourites is 2 21-minute meditations with a 7-minute introduction. So if I know that I need to stay calm and out of panic, so I need to be focused, then I will literally set my alarm for basically 45 minutes to an hour earlier so that I can go in and do that meditation. And the reason why that I said, I'd explain is this place of getting back into your inner calm, and being able to do that at any time of the day that you need to. Okay, so look at where you can turn your panic into calm and pre-prepare yourself. Look at where we are fearful towards ourselves, and the best thing that we can do to flip that on its head is to love the self. When we're in fear for ourselves, then we do a good job of beating ourselves up. How about we treat ourselves kindly? February is known as a month of love because of Valentine's Day, and a lot of the focus for people is in being loving to a couple if they're part of a couple, or being loving to somebody if they want to be part of a couple. But you know what? I think the best thing that we can do before we even start becoming loving to everybody else and other people is to be loving to ourselves. And by doing that, it takes the fear out of our lives. It encourages us to ask ourselves better questions than ones that beat us over the head. So I would definitely say that that's a how in terms of focus and getting ourselves in that place. And then the other thing, which I alluded to in the first point, is our can'ts and our cans. Quite often we inadvertently look at how we're going to do something, and the first place we go to is, but I don't have time, I'm too busy. We look at all the reasons why we can't. And again, if you find this popping up in your internal dialogue or in your language, use it as an opportunity to look at, okay, so how can I do this thing? Just ask that question. Oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I've got the kids to look after. I've got this thing to do. I've got this project on. I've got these meetings. Stop and ask yourself, how can I? When you ask yourself, how can I? This allows you to get even more creative. So, given all of the things that I've shared here, and some of these things might not be new to you, if there is something that I shared that was new to you, do type it in the box and let me know. I love to be able to dig deeper and expand on these things, especially if they're of use to you. Do let me know. And if you've heard a few things that you've heard before, look at how you're going to build on those, because let's face it, if we're not getting the results that we want in life, and myself included, then we need to use the information that we've got in a different way. Because by stuffing ourselves with more information, that means that we're putting ourselves in the place of more stuff, more stuff. And remember, the whole theme of this is less is more. You can make more money with less clients. You can make more impact with less words. You can make more of a dent in your focus with less distractions. It's a very simplistic principle to live by, but are you living it? And the way to gauge that is if you're finding that you are challenged, in struggle, concerned, worried, then it's your body's way of just like needing to recalibrate you. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you've loved this. And if you think to yourself, well, you know what, I've been looking for somebody to work with me as a coach, or to be able to help me through these things, or help my team through these things, then please do get in touch. If you're watching this on Facebook, then please hit the message box above, send me a message. I'll send a link to schedule a call, and we'll talk about what's going on for you and whether I'm the person to help you with this, or whether there's something else that you need to do. And then if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, by all means, then have a look at the link that's below this video. Click on the link to book to see how we can work together to get you doing less for more results. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the love hearts. Please do share this. You never know who of your friends on your timeline or family might need to hear just one of the nuggets in this message today. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're part of the Visibility Vibes tribe, I look forward to seeing your comments in the group as to what you're going to do moving forward. Which of these principles are you going to take moving forward this week, this month, this morning, this Monday? Thank you for watching. Bye for now.